Hey guys, another homework problem from 7.1, estimating a population proportion. In this one, we are going to construct a confidence interval. So, our problem is that an airline conducted a random survey of passengers to determine if they liked or disliked their flight. 415 people liked their flight and 151 disliked their flight. Construct a 90% confidence interval to estimate the percentage of dislikes. Well, first thing that we need to do is make sure that we meet the conditions. Simple random sample, yes. Fixed number of trials, yes. Trials are independent, yes. Uh, they are lined up as success or failure, two options, yes. And each each trial is consistent. Probability doesn't change, yes. And last, there are at least 5 successes or 5 failures, yes. So we meet the criteria. So the first thing that I do with this is that I like to write down my formula. And the main formula that we have here is for the margin of error, E. And then I will go ahead and write down, this is for my confidence interval also. And it's important to have these memorized, because that's what steers you. You use your formula and you make sure you find all the information. What we're trying to get to is this. We're trying to develop a confidence interval. So I go through and I look at everything that I have so I can write everything down. So I'll write it over here. N is going to be my sample space, my total number. So 415 plus 151, 566 will be my N. X, what I'm looking for, I'm looking for my dislikes. That's what I'm going to consider to be my successes in this. So that's 151. P hat. P hat is my sample proportion, and it is simply equal to X divided by N. So I'm looking at 151 divided by 566. So 151 divided by 566, and I'm going to write this out a few decimal places. 151 divided by 566. So I have 0.26678. Most of your answers are probably going to be rounded to 3 decimal places. But again, make sure of that before you go through. And then I can find Q for that. Q is 1 minus P hat. So 1 minus that business, 1 minus 0.266 is equal to 0.733 whoops, I got 3 threes in there. 73322. There we go. And then my confidence level, because I'm going to need that for my alpha, my confidence level for this is going to be 90%, so 0.90, and that allows me to be able to calculate alpha. So I have my P hat, my Q hat, my N, so this is what I need to find in order to be able to calculate E. So for Z, alpha divided by 2, the first thing I need to do is find alpha, and I know that alpha equals 1 minus the confidence level, so alpha equals 1 minus 0.9. So alpha equals 0.1. So alpha divided by 2, which is saying 0.1 divided by 2, turns out to be 0.05. So this is what I'm looking up. Again, we're dealing with the right tail, so what I'm going to look up is going to be a corresponding is going to be a course. I'm going to use symmetry to find the positive z-score, but I will reference that one. And also remember, you can use just your common critical values on there for your confidence level, so you can turn around and be able to look that up. And whenever I calculate that, I end up with 1.733 0.645. So now I can find E. So this was, now I'm going to find E. So E equals 1.645 times the square root. P hat was 0.26678, 0.73322. Over N, and N was 566. So E will equal, so let's do this. I have 0.26678 times 0.73322 divided by 566. I'll take the square root of that. And I end up with now I use my formula, I'll rewrite it. P hat minus the margin of error is less than P, population proportion, which is less than P hat. Again, P hat is the sample proportion plus E. See, I'm creating a range around it. So I have, and this will be in, I think the answer is generally 3 decimals, so I'll just go ahead and round up. 0.267 minus 0.031 is less than P, which is less than 0.267 plus 0.031. And calculate those values. .236 is less than P, which is less than 0.298. And with your answers here in MyMathLab, sometimes there's a variance that's allowed here. Usually, like for this one, what they're going to give you is plus or minus 0.002, so you could have 8 in your thousandths place, or you could have 4. Okay, they give you some variance in your answers, but always double check your rounding rule. Don't just think you automatically did it wrong. That's usually why I will try to take stuff out. But there's almost like there's 2 different people that created questions. Some of them, it's like they want the full value of your P hat and Q hat and other things throughout the whole calculation. And some of them, you can tell from their answer that they went ahead and rounded in the very beginning. This is what they had. Whoops. That's what they had from the very beginning to do their calculations, and it will make a difference in your calculations. I cannot tell you which ones those are, my apologies, but I've encountered those in doing the homework problems. But that is how you calculate a confidence interval. Again, I would write out my formula, and then I look and see what information do I have in my problem. I write everything down, and then what it turns into, we already have to do this. We have to calculate a critical value, but then I just plug in my values and solve. The math behind what you're doing is simple. It's just making sure that you develop you a set of steps to be able to use. All right, watch the publisher's videos, critically think and structure your homework, and good luck with your homework.